Hi, guys. Good evening, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host, Eddie, and in tonight's video, I will be discussing what I thought of the latest and super entertaining episode of AMC's The Walking Dead. Now, before I begin, of course, as usual with most of my Walking Dead and episode review videos, please keep in mind this is a spoiler-filled episode review. Again, if you're not caught up on Walking Dead by this episode or the past two episodes, don't keep watching or listening, as I will be going into spoilers. That being said, you have been warned. Okay, so let's dive right in. First and foremost, great performances by Melissa McBride, who plays Carol, and Ryan Hurst, who plays Beta. I felt like this episode, their stories were kind of going parallel. It was like both of them kind of going like on emotionally jarring journeys, and then they both eventually snap out of it and hopefully emerge stronger than ever. We didn't really get a sense of that with Carol, but Carol's a pretty strong, badass character, so she's probably going to be okay. And then I loved the way that Beta came out of his funk by slicing off Alpha's severed walker head, a slice of her face, and then using it to fix his broken mask. That was terrifying and awesome at the same time. That was so damn gross and scary, and I loved it. I mean, this whole episode, this might have been one of the grosser, creepier episodes the show has done, and there have been a lot of gnarly, nasty moments throughout this entire series as far back as I can remember. But I don't remember anything as creepy as something like Beta cuddling and caressing the head of his fallen leader. I mean, that guy is loyal to a T. He didn't even take up the mantle of Alpha. He refused to become Alpha. He's going to be Beta from here on out. He will be in charge. He'll obviously be running the Whisperers, but this guy will not take up the Alpha mantle. He's just going to be Beta. I mean, wow, what an episode. And I love the fact that Alpha and Carol got to have at least one pretty awesome scene or sequence together. Even though Alpha was already dead, it was still good. You know, the both of them are such good actresses, and you know, it was like it wasn't necessarily Carol fighting with Alpha; it was her fighting with her own conscience or her own thoughts, and her own thoughts, her own guilt, whatever you want to call it. And I love that Alpha was personified as Alpha of all people. So that was fitting. I also loved the season. I think it was season 4, was it? Yeah, I think it was a season 4 throwback or call out. When she escaped the pile of logs that had collapsed in on her, she had dislocated her shoulder, which she had done many times when she was married to her abusive husband, Ed. And she had become good at popping her own shoulder like back into place. So she could easily heal herself or make herself feel better if she were to like pop her arm out of her shoulder, which she was able to do and save her own life, which was brilliant. I loved the throwback to season 4, my favorite season. I loved that throwback, and I love that they keep little details like that about our characters we may not remember and put them in an episode where it's relevant, and that was so cool, I thought. I knew Negan wasn't going to take up the Alpha mantle. I could tell he thought about it for a very brief second, but considering, he did sit in a room for about 7 years and had nothing else going on for him, he probably underwent his own change or transformation. He's just not that guy anymore. He's still got an edge to him, but he's not that tyrant anymore. And so I wasn't surprised, when he actually helped Daryl escape the 3 Whisperers and killed them. Daryl still doesn't like him and probably never will. But at this point, it feels like this episode was the beginning of not trust. It was at least the beginning of a more respectful relationship. But it's like at least, they can trust one another not to kill the other. I'm curious to see if Daryl vouched for him when they returned to Alexandria, because obviously Daryl was there to greet Carol, and I'm sure Negan was with them, and whether or not he's in chains or not, well, remains to be seen. I don't know who this new character is, who the girl was at the end, but I really, really loved how the group in the city meets her, and she's like, "Oh my God, hi!" Like, she's so enthusiastic and chipper, and she seems so upbeat and just genuinely happy to find new people. I'm hoping she's going to become an ally rather than an enemy, because, we've already got enough enemies on this show, so I'm hoping that this is a new ally, because she looks great and she she seems like a really fun character too, and I'm really excited to see what we get to see in the next episode. Speaking of the next episode, for those of you who may or may not have heard, unfortunately, due to our current predicament, which is the coronavirus, post-production, the editing and everything to make and putting all the pieces together for the season finale, which was supposed to be in about 2 weeks on April 12th, is unfortunately going to be delayed due to the coronavirus and everybody's social distancing. So next week's episode, which is really the second to last episode of the season, is going to be our season finale. The real season finale will be dropping later at some point later this year, hopefully before season 11 premieres. But that's the case. It's just one of those unfortunate things. But hey, from the promos for next week's episode, it looks like it's going to be a pretty big, pretty awesome episode. So I'm looking forward to that. Overall, really enjoyed this episode, especially the Carol and Beta bits. And, of course, the stuff with Negan and Daryl was great, too. And then the introduction of that new character, overall, solid, entertaining episode. And I'm very excited to see what happens next. So what did you guys think? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you expecting more, expecting less? I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. The Walking Dead drops its season finale next Sunday on AMC, with the real season finale to drop later this year. Have a great rest of your night, guys, and stay safe out there. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.